This video will go over another function, standard deviations, as well as the idea of pace special. As a reminder, these are intended to be watched in full and in order, so go back and watch those that came before as needed. The video that was right before this was autofill. Now on to calculating standard deviations. For the standard deviation values, it's the same general procedure as with averages. Select the cell you want the value to appear in, bright yellow orange cell at the top, and type equals STDEV period S open parentheses. For this data set, you want the standard deviation of a set of samples, or of a sample set, which is period S, rather than a population or many of the other options available depending on the data you have. Make sure that you know which is appropriate when you're calculating standard deviations for different data sets. That's beyond the scope of this series, so just know that there are multiple options and always confirm which one is appropriate. You fill in the rest like we did before with the autofill. Remember, these are only a few of the function options. You can always take time to go and play around with some of the others. If you need to, pause this video, complete this task before moving on. Now let's go over paste special. If you accidentally do a normal paste, you won't get the correct values because if you remember when you autofilled, you are copying over the information for the reference cells when you do this. So it is shifting the frame by the same as you're moving. So on the All Data tab, the reference cells now start 14 cells down and 1 column over. And that is not what you want average. But we need our table filled out because in order to move on to graphing, we need to not include sex in the table, which is also an easier way to present the info to the reader. We will transfer some of these values into the table in the formatted table below, which separates the data by sex rather than calculation, like average and standard deviation. You'll notice that the headers in the formatted table do not include sex because that would be redundant information. We are transferring the info that the formatted cell so that it's a lot easier to graph, and it's the information that we want to graph. We will use the paste special function rather than a standard paste because remember, we only want the values, not the reference formulas. And again, this is not the only way to get this information in there, but it's one option. So you copy with Control-C or by right-clicking on a Mac, it's a double click, and then select the copy option. Then right-click your destination and select the 1, 2, 3 clipboard values only option. Then repeat this for the remaining values, skipping sex, so in 2 sets. If you mouse over the image, and like the clipboard 1, 2, 3, it will tell you the type of paste special option it is. And again, in this case, you want values only. This is compared to formulas only, transpose, and many of the other options that again, you can play around with on your own. The next video you watch should be an intro to graphing.